Remember, guys, believe all women. You remember back in 2018, Brett Kavanaugh, oh my god, one of the most dangerous people to ever have been appointed to be a Supreme Court justice. Oh, he would bring just terrible ideas to the Supreme Court. Well, if you're kind of on the right, that ended up becoming true, but if you can cast your mind back to 2018 when all this stuff was going on, you'll remember that there were, just a few different capitals and capital houses, Wisconsin, even the one in Washington, D.C. that got stormed wasn't an insurrection or anything like that. Hell, they were accommodated, but that was all in a noble fight, right? Yeah, of course. And even years after his appointment, even years after his confirmation, 4,500 credible tips, relevant tips, including ones to the Trump White House came forward. Oh my god, like this guy was the second coming. He was just going to be the mythical tentacle monster come to life, and he'd have a lifetime appointment on the Supreme Court. Oh my god, we couldn't be having that. The FBI disclosed that it received more than 4,500 tips from a phone line in 2018 as part of a background investigation into then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and provided relevant ones to former President Donald Trump's White House counsel. The exact numbers of tips was disclosed in a June 30th letter released by Sheldon Whitehouse on Thursday. It's from Sheldon Whitehouse, the guy who really does love and appreciate his lifetime membership to his all-inclusive, Connecticut? Oh, it's up there in the New England area, his completely white country club. The letter was in response to a 2-year-old request from Senate Democrats seeking more information about the handling of the investigation. Revelation, reignited fierce accusations from liberals who say that the FBI and the Trump White House did not sufficiently examine allegations against Kavanaugh in the wake of accusations that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, that he had sexually assaulted her at a party in Maryland suburbs when they were both in high school. Yeah, they really care about that investigation, but then you remember when he was almost killed and his house was busted into at the beginning of the summer last year? Yeah, nobody seems to remember any of that stuff. Yeah, hilarious. But there's a new documentary that's out there that has all of the facts all of a sudden. Oh my god, they just can't let this story go. This just came out at the end of last month. New Brett Kavanaugh sexual assault allegations revealed in secret Sundance documentary. Oh my god. Brett Kavanaugh's 2018 confirmation of the Supreme Court was embroiled in controversy when multiple women accused him of sexual assault. One of them, Christine Blasey Ford, testified before Congress, just looking like an extras from the way outs. What's with those glasses? I understand I need some new specs, but those are atrocious. Justice is horrifying and infuriating inquiry into those claims, told in large part by friends of Ford, lawyers and medical experts, and another of Kavanaugh's alleged victims, Deborah Ramirez, a classmate of his at Yale. Most damning of all, it features the never-before-heard audio recordings made by one of Kavanaugh's Yale's colleagues, Partnership for Public Service President and CEO Max Steerer, that not only corroborates Ramirez's charges, she's just coming up with some stuff, but suggests that Kavanaugh violated another unnamed woman as well by throwing ice across a table. Last minute addition to this year's Sundance Film Festival, Justice is a first featured documentary helmed by Doug Liman, a director best known for Hollywood hits like Swingers, Go, The Bourne Identity, and Edge of Tomorrow. His latest is far removed from those fictional mainstream efforts. Oh really? Caustically censuring Kavanaugh and the political process that elevated him to one of the highest judicial bench, and casting a sympathetic eye on Ford, Ramirez, and their fellow accusers. That's very nice, but what about this revelation from today that Kavanaugh's rape accusers confessed that she lied and was never raped, never even met the man? How about that? How about all that stuff? How about those years of accusations on that man's name? How about propping up Believe All Women, Me Too, Time's Up, all of that shit off the back of this right here? Are you out of your fucking mind. Democrats staged at a confirmation hearings for Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, was a disgusting group denigrated of the high office Democrats have been entrusted with. This was borne out again yesterday when Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Charles Grassley, Chuck your asses Grassley, my man, made a third criminal referral and one against a second Kavanaugh accuser, Judy Monroe Layton. Here, Grassley's letter of referral to Attorney General Jeff Sessions and FBI Director Christopher Wray. There it is if you want to read all of it, okay. By itself, Monroe Layton's admissions that she lied about Judge Kavanaugh is despicable, but it's taken out of context of the way the Democrats orchestrated their resistance to Judge Kavanaugh throughout the entire confirmation process should be disqualifying for high office. It was admitted by at least one Democratic member of the Judiciary Committee that from the outset, top Democrat senators had been coordinating with the protesters, many of them paid. Are you serious? So everybody who stormed the Capitol, they didn't care about those ones because they were on the take. You can't make this shit up. To disrupt the hearings and to create a false sense of outrage, some in the most despicable manner imaginable. Even in hindsight, right? Like, Kavanaugh, he's kind of a bitch when he's on the Supreme Court. Like, he more or less is just the third independent that just kind of sides with Roberts, and they're just kind of cucked on a whole host of different issues. Like, it's been a minute since we've talked about the Supreme Court, mostly because I haven't been in session for a minute. It's a 3-3-3 Supreme Court, okay? You got three conservatives. Gorsuch is good on most things, but every once in a while he gets a little flumpy. But Alito and Thomas, you know, just Clarence Thomas is based beyond all hell. And then you got the liberals on the other side. You got Fatneck Kagan, Sotomayor, and new black lady, Ketanji Brown Jackson. I almost forgot her name, kind of like Biden. It was like, if I need to summarize America in one word, it'll be... I can't believe he still did that. That's one of my favorite clips to go back to anyways. But yeah, it's a 3-3-3 split with Roberts, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett in the middle. Like, the fact that they spurred out so hard for Kavanaugh, by possibly one of the last straight white males that'll ever be appointed to the Supreme Court, or at least nominated. It has been admitted by at least, yes, one Democratic member that the intention of those paid protesters was to disrupt the hearings and create a false sense of outrage, some of the most despicable manner imaginable. Then there was what now appears to be a wholly fabricated accusations of Christine Blasey Ford. All right, the good doctor that's out there who told her harrowing story, just couldn't get any of the details correct, didn't even know exactly where the house was, couldn't really pin it down to a specific year or not. That involved so many deep state Democratic operatives that a scorecard is required to identify all of them. Every reason to believe the radical leftist, a Democrat Senator Kamala Harris, unfortunately, now she's achieved a much higher position, kind of due to her skills that she could eventually pull one of these types of accusations into the future if she ever wants to, wash her hands of politics. Had a hand in Monroe Layton's claims because she was the person who brought Monroe Layton's letter to the committee's attention. Yo, what the anyways, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham became enraged at the Democrats' unwarranted attempt to smear Judge Kavanaugh. Yeah, that's the only time that Lindsey Graham's actually been decent about something, sticking up for a fellow neocon, and made a mockery using unsubstantiated and vile claims of what should have been an austere, probative examination of the nominee's qualifications. No, the CNN says 4,500 tips and everything's fine and wonderful. But when it's all said and done, it really doesn't much matter if everything was all made up and fabricated. Like, you have to go deep in the cut in order to find any of these admissions. They lied on the man's name. They put this stigma on top of him. Okay, apparently this tweet's made the rounds. 17,000 likes, 327,000 views. Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted Christine Blasey Ford and like a bunch of other made-up women. He's now in the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas sexually harassed Anita Hill by noticing a hair on a Coke can and saying it was a pube. That was sexual harassment, by the way. He's on the Supreme Court. Matt Gaetz sex trafficked girls. Can we pull up the article where the Department of Justice couldn't find any evidence that Matt Gaetz actually did that? Interesting. He's now one of the most influential members of Congress. Sort of. The rapists are in control. No. The fact that you can continue to enumerate those patently false claims just goes to show you that believe all women, Me Too, Time's Up is still very much in control. It doesn't matter if a man's name is cleared. It doesn't matter if he didn't do anything to begin with. He will still carry that stigma forever. Johnny Depp, still known as a wife beater in the UK, even though all the evidence is out. Andrew Tate, when he's eventually released from jail, he's still going to be hit with that label of human trafficker. All of it's bullshit. But the sub 100 IQ brainlets that'll be out there will just continue to repeat the programming until they get the new batch. Trump said, grab them by the pussy. Believe all women. Me Too is about keeping and holding people in power accountable. Definitely not a replacement tactic. Not the rapists who are in control. Opportunistic bitches who are. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.